Hi, it's me again with Corel Tips and Tricks, and somebody sent me this photograph of a sign. It's a bitmap, but it's so clear, or it's such a good photograph that I traced this one, and it is dead on sharp vector file. So I thought I'd show you in case to trace it, and it's real small. It's only 2 inches by 2 inches. So we don't have to convert it to a bitmap because we actually want those colors. We're just going to trace the bitmap. I always use outline trace clip art, and it's going to do it pretty fast, and it's done. And that's all that's really to it because it's ready to go. But let's say there is a case where you cannot trace it. It's not that good very easily. And let me see I'm working with somebody else's file. So I'm going to double click because I want to hairline. I'm going to double click, go to graphic. I'm going to change this to hairline and change it to RGB red that quick, and then it will always be a hairline when I draw. And then just take your arrow shape, make sure you can see it all. Get your 2-point line, because these are basically all straight points. And we're just going to roughly go from line to line. You don't have to be dead on perfect at first. We can always go back very easily. But all I'm doing is dragging it, let off the mouse button, hold down the mouse button, let off the mouse button, hold down the mouse button, hold down the mouse button, let go, hold down the mouse button. So every time I move it, I'm holding the mouse button down so it'll drag it. And this is done, and I'm not taking just a lot of time, but the key is you want to go to that node. Now we're pretty much dead on, but with the exception of now we can take the shape tool. And if you put your nudge factor on something pretty low like 0.001, as a laser engraver would normally have theirs set at. Let me zoom in here. I keep grabbing the artwork so I can just put my wheel and then grab the shape tool. And then you can click on a node and very minutely nudge it over to that spot. I need to click on it first and make it blue. And then very finely, that needs to move over just a little bit. This could move over just a little bit. Nudging is a lot, to me, better than trying to do it by hand because your hand movement. So I'm going to call that good. Now I'm going to set my nudge like on, and also whoever I'm, doing this for, I would set this at 0, 0. So when you make a duplicate, I'm going to set my nudge factor on 3 inches, and I'm going to take my arrow and nudge it over. Well, I must have put 30 inches. Let me back up here. I put 6. So grab our arrow and move it over. Now we need to reduplicate this triangle. Well, a triangle is basically a 3-sided polygon. Put your sides on 3. And if we're going to make it the exact same size, you can grab that 3-sided triangle and just draw you a triangle. Actually, hold down the control button to get it perfect. Once you get it pretty close, you can put it on top of your item. And then we need to expand it out a little bit, so I'm going to hold down the shift key, help it grow from the center. And really what I want it kind of in the center of that, and we're really close enough without changing our nudge distance, but now we can nudge that over. Now we need to round those corners, but also we need to make it thicker, but we can round it first. So let's go to Windows, Dockers, corners. I just did a video a few seconds about this ago. It's loading. But see, I've done way too much. So I'm going to go 0.01 and hit apply. I'm just rounding them off. The only thing wrong with this is that when we make the line thicker, it might look a little bit different. So at this point, let's go ahead and make this 0.09. Doesn't seem like it's changing any, so 0.1. Well, I might not have been grabbing with the shape tool. Grab it with the shape tool. Let's go 0.9, see what happens. Doesn't appear it's doing much, but it is. So now what we need to do is make it a thicker line to kind of match the other. I'm going to go with like maybe 8 points. That's too thick. And like I've said in a lot of videos, I've only got 8 to 4, but we need something in between. You can type in 6 and be 6. Let's make it black. And now we can round off those corners a little bit more to make it look like the original. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell. Let's just step this up a little bit to 1. Hit apply. Doesn't seem like it's working. Let me see what's going on. Maybe I need to back up completely. Maybe once it's set, tell you what, let's just back up completely because we should only have one node there. So here we go. Let's make it thicker to begin with. Maybe that'll be the key. So we'll go, like I said, you can't go there, so you go just 6 points. Now grab the shape tool and click. It doesn't matter if you click all the nodes because the other ones are straight. And then we need to go, that's what was wrong. I needed to convert it to a curve. Now it'll work, but I need to select all the nodes and apply. So 1 is too much, so 0.5 maybe. Okay, I only had one of the nodes. Or maybe I was going too much. Maybe it's 0.1. Let's try 0.1. There we go. That might be too much. So you can always back up. Let's go 0.05. Hit apply. There we go. Now let's make that black. Make the line black. And because we've nudged, that arrow should be pretty much, I think we probably need to make it a little bit less of a line. Let's make it 5 points. There we go. And because it's maybe a little bit smaller, you could expand it a little bit by holding down the shift key and it'll grow. And then nudge it over. That looks pretty good. And then take the smart fill and fill that in with black. I would, at this time, take the outline away on that. And then take your, if you need it exactly like that sign, take your smart fill tool, get your eyedropper and click on that graphic and then put it in there. Now what had happened, the fill is thicker than the line. So what we need to do, I mean, the fill is taking over half the line because we started with such a, so let's click on our line and let's get rid of this window. Double click on your pick. And right here, you can go the middle, the corners, or the, let's see, that one's, no, it's right here, I'm sorry, position. That's outside, inside, or inside the line. Let's see what that looks like. Well, what did I do? There we go, inside the line. So you want that feel like that. That looks pretty identical to the original, if I don't say so myself. But it traced just as good, so you could go through a lot less of those steps by tracing. Anyway, I hope that helped them a little bit. Thank you for watching.